Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're back with another episode of Ladies, where we are empowering you and motivating you and inspiring you to be the best you that you can be. And today's topic is very, very, very important. We're excited about it. It's been a great season so far, but this episode here, we really hope that we can help you overcome rejection. Rejection is very powerful. It's very real and can be extremely damaging if you don't know how to manage it, if you don't know how to overcome it, if you don't know how to address it or even spot the signs of rejection, not only in your life, but in the life of your friends and your family members. You could really be a help to somebody if you can spot the signs of rejection or abandonment, because that's another, way of looking at it. So let's dig into this topic about rejection. And I want to start off with a basic definition and then dig a little bit deeper. I know everybody knows what rejection is. Everybody may not know.
Right.
Webster's defines rejection as dismissing or refusing of a purpose, idea, or something along those lines. The spurning of a person's affections. Okay. When I dig deep into the root of the word, I love to just really get into word study, and I studied this word. I love Latin. That's where a lot of our words come from. And these are some of the definitions of what rejection means in Latin. It means divorce, refuse, rebuff. Another word, which is really interesting, means electoral defeat.
Oh, wow.
Repulse. And put off. So when you really start looking at kind of the roots of what the word rejection means, it really kind of gives you a different perspective. It's more than just emotion. It's more than just, oh, my lover left me. Oh, my husband or my wife divorced me. Oh, it's more than that. It's way deeper than that. When I saw electoral defeat, I was like, wow, but that's true. And you're going to see some of the same things that we really uncover here about rejection, signs of rejection, because when Hillary Clinton lost, she avoided work, social activities. She went into isolation. Those are signs of rejection. And in truth, when you think about it, the country or the Electoral College rejected you. Or your city, if you're running for a local office, your city, your constituents rejected you. They did not want you. So for whatever reason, that's what happened. So I was that really excited me when I saw that, and to rebuff and refuse. But when I saw electoral defeat, I was like, wow. And then you start thinking about things, and it really puts rejection in a different light, because we tend to confine rejection to a box of just emotions. And we think that it's just personal, meaning relationship. And it is. But what about when you get rejected in business?
Yeah.
What about, when you get rejected at school? Hey, you can't get in this class, but you really need it or you want it. That's still a sign of rejection. You know what I mean? And it can really, how you respond and deal with rejection determines how the course of your life. So we're going to get into this topic, and I'm going to ask you, Shena, from your perspective, why you think rejection is so hard. Why is it so hard?
I think it's because we don't like hearing the word no. That's no is a powerful word. No is the same no in all languages. Everybody knows the word no. So it's a word that is used often, even in regular conversation. Even when someone asks you, hey, can you do this for me? No. Well, what do you mean no? I really need it, or I really want it. And so I think that's why it's hard, because we expect people to agree with us. We expect people to say yes to our opinions, or when we like someone, or when we're trying to get into a job, or whatever we are asking permission for. When we hear no, it's like, well, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting you to say no. I was expecting you to say yes.
Right.
So I think that's why it's so hard. That's good. That's really good.
I know, right? It makes you think about it because sometimes it seems like it's a
Mhm.
no-brainer. Well,
Yeah.
duh, because it hurt people's feelings, but it's sometimes it's bigger than that. You know,
Yeah.
my dad's calling.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a deal. No, but anyway, listen, but but seriously, a lot of times we take certain things for granted and we make
Mhm.
assumptions.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the assumption is correct.
Right.
So, rejection is hard a lot of times because, like you said, people, we don't like to hear the word no, or we don't
Mhm.
expect no, especially when it's something so easy.
Right.
If
Right.
it's easy to you, but you
Right.
don't know what that person in their life is working on. This may be someone who's
Right.
working on saying no because they're used to saying yes
And
all
yes.
the
Yeah.
time, and they need to
Yeah.
learn to say no. They may genuinely want to help you. They may genuinely want to do it.
Yeah.
They may have the time to do it, but no is
Right.
healthy, and they may be going through a stage in their life where they're learning to say no. So
Right.
it's not
That's
about you.
exactly. Yeah.
But a lot of
Yeah.
times rejection is hard because we feel like it's about us. It's personal. We take
Mhm.
every no personal. Oh, they just
Mhm.
don't like me. And we instantly go to a negative space
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
everybody is against us. But
Yep.
rejection doesn't have to be toxic. We
Yep.
make it toxic when we don't respond um,
Yeah.
to it correctly, when we don't manage it properly. Because,
Yeah.
if you think about it, the instant responses,
Mhm.
because we take
Get
it, we
attitude.
think, oh, okay, so, but why don't you want to help me? Why don't you? It's just
Right.
something so simple, like, oh my God,
Right.
why
Right.
can't we? But the problem is, a big issue is we don't respect people's no,
Mm.
and a lot of times that can also be a big deal. We want people to respect our no when we say no,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we don't respect other people's no when they say no to us because now we're on the
Yeah.
receiving end of the rejection.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
So
That's
it's
true.
like,
Yeah.
like you said, don't know how to process it.
Mhm.
Don't know how to process it. And it
Mhm.
becomes, it's kind of like, wait. And now you're confused because you're trying to work in your mind because you've already rationalized it. A lot of times
Mhm.
we really to go to a toxic place with rejection because we've already worked out that you said yes. And we already
Right.
worked out the plan of how
Right.
this is going to work out. And I know how this is going to end up being because this person's going to say, yeah, and this is going to work them. And when they say no, it throws a monkey wrench in our plan because we've already processed in our mind how it's going to go. And when it doesn't go that way, it's like, and that's not good. Not healthy. Not healthy at all. It looks like we've lost Shanae. Oh, there you go.
Mhm.
You froze.
I'm right here. Yeah, you were too. So I was like, let me kind of move it.
Right. So that's what ends up happening. I think sometimes, like you said, people aren't conditioned to receiving
Mhm.
no. And or you may not be expecting that no because you've
Right.
already planned in your mind how it's going to work out.
Right.
And
Right.
um but I'm going to ask a question that's a little controversial.
Okay.
Um, and it's going to seem kind of stupid, but it's not.
Okay.
Why is rejection necessary?
Mm. So that's not a stupid question. That at all. Rejection is necessary because of the situation or the circumstance. Like you said before, some people have to learn how to say no. I was in that situation too. I was always saying yes. I'm a people person. I love people. I love helping. I love befriending people. That's just
Mhm.
who I am. And so I will always say yes, 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 yes. Sure, I could do that. Sure, I could be there. But then it got to the point where people was expecting yes so much that when I did occasionally say no, I was looked at like, well, what you mean? You ain't doing nothing. What you doing? They start questioning because they felt like they were part of my life and they knew my schedule.
Right.
And so it was like, well, you're not doing nothing, or you didn't work too hard. Well, yes, I did. At that time I was on part time, but I was still tired. So so it's really necessary because it's healthy. It's healthy. You have a balance between yes and no because sometimes you just can't do it. And you want to do it, but you just can't. Or you're in a really bad situation where you are in a toxic relationship. That's another circumstance when you need to say no. A job. Maybe you getting job offers. And one is you getting paid more, or you getting more sick time off because you have a child or a husband that requires you more attention. Sometimes you got to say no to that other job because it's like no. So it's definitely healthy for you to have that balance between yes and no. That's when it's necessary.
I think it's also necessary. Rejection is necessary because it helps build something in us as people.
Yeah.
It builds our resolve. It teaches us how to manage our emotions better. It also teaches us discipline and self-control. It also teaches us
Yeah.
to respect other people's boundaries and space.
Yeah.
It teaches us so much. Rejection also teaches us to appreciate what we have and where we are. And there's so much that we learn about ourselves and other people in certain situations when rejection is introduced into our lives. I love, my school has a church, and one of the things they do is they create situations in a safe space where the children fail. So what it does is it teaches them early what those emotions feel like, how to work through that, and how to respond, appropriately. Why? Because if you don't create a safe space for them to address negative situations and feelings like losing, like rejection, the world will teach them.
Yeah,
And if they're not
true.
set up, they won't be successful in responding to rejection, to losing, to all of these different things. So a lot of times, I think we personally, I think knowing now what I know from life experiences, I think we should role play rejection.
That's good. That's good.
Have role play scenarios where you role play rejection, so that you already have a proactive stance to dealing with rejection versus reactive. Because a lot of times the way we react to rejection is out of our pure emotion, because we don't know. We weren't, like you said, we weren't expecting to be rejected. We expect everything to work in our favor. Let's just really get to it. The reality is we expect things to work the way we want it to work. We expect people to do for us. We expect stuff to go a certain way. Even on your job, you can have a team group project, whether it's on your job or at school or whatever. And the expectation is everybody gonna pull their weight. Everybody gonna do what they supposed to do. But the reality is everybody's not gonna pull their weight, and everybody's not gonna do what they're supposed to do. Somebody is going to reject the plan. But how you manage that person's rejection of the plan, because if they reject the plan, guess what? It throws the whole project off. It throws everything off. And now everybody's backed up. Everybody has some tops. And now you have a toxic situation on your job or at school or whatever, because now my grade is on the line. Ain't nobody got time for that. Or my job is on the line because we have to meet a deadline because you rejected the plan. For whatever reason, because you got your own agenda or whatever the case may be. See, we don't see rejection like that, but it is a repulse. It's you putting off. You're refusing. If you don't like this part, I'm gonna refuse this part. I'm only gonna do this part. But that throws the whole plan off, and we don't expect that. So what ends up happening is there's a trickle down effect that affects everybody. Now what ends up happening? I don't like group projects. I don't want to work with a team. I like working by myself. I don't like it. Why? Because of the negative of the domino effect that comes when somebody rejects part of the plan. So a lot of times we have rejection. We have rejection in this box. Like I said earlier, the box is only for relationships. When this lover of mine left me, or somebody didn't, share my affections, but rejection is way, way, way bigger than that. You know what I mean? So I personally think we should role play, or have
Mhm.
situations where we are, have to face some type of rejection so we know how to manage it and handle it when it comes
Mhm.
up. Um, how do we discipline ourselves to embrace rejection, to use it for our benefit? Like I've already said, I think we should role play it. That's the only way you're going
Mhm.
to know how to embrace it. You know what I'm saying? To use it
Yeah.
for your advantage, because rejection can be used for your advantage. But if you don't know how to turn it around to use it for your advantage. So what are your thoughts, Shanae, on what you think, how we can discipline ourselves to embrace rejection, to use it for our benefit?
Has to be because it's important. I
It's
mean, and it's definitely a lifestyle because, we deal with it every day. I
important.
mean, you're being rejected every single in different ways, however you see it, big, small, medium, you're being rejected. And I think one way that it could be used in our advantage is if when we go and seek an answer, that we can kind of have it in the back of our minds that it might be a no. It just might be. And as easy as it sounds, it can be hard because when you really want something, I mean, you really want something, you want it to work in your favor. It's good. I definitely agree with you about having role play. Role playing is definitely, excuse me, I think it's beneficial for everyone. I know in certain classes that I took in college, we had role play, especially for criminal justice. We had mock trials. We had briefings. We had all these things because it helped us to get an idea
Mhm.
of how a courtroom is set up. It also gave us confidence to know that, what, can I do this? Am I confident enough to do that? Am I confident enough to stand in front of everybody, jurors, plaintiff, judge, everybody, and talk about a certain case?
Right.
So I think that's a good thing to do. And I think is you should start in the home.
Mhm.
I think that's where the first, it should start because your family, you can be rejected with siblings, rejected with your parents, friends, so start there, then go into schools, workplaces, just different places. And I think it will help.
Right. I think you make a very good point here, and something as you were talking, I wrote down. I said, plan for no, like you
Mhm.
expect yes. The same way you have a plan when you expect people to say yes, and you worked it all the way out.
Mhm.
It will help you kind of accept that rejection, accept that
Yeah.
no, because now I have a plan for that no. It's like I got to
Right.
back up to the backup to the backup to the backup to the
Right.
backup, backup, backup. And it's
Right.
okay. The other thing is start in the home. That's true. I don't care if it's just a husband and a wife and you don't have no kids. It doesn't matter. Practice it. Practice with your friends. If you're not married yet, practice with your friends. Especially if you're single and you're dating. Practice, role play, talk with your friends about certain situations. Because it will help you, and also it may help you. They may be able to help see a pattern. Maybe you attract the same kind of people, or you're looking for the same kind of people, and they can help you kind of break out of that. But a lot of times, rejection happens. Hi. A lot of times, rejection happens very early for a lot of people, children, when they are abandoned, especially if they have to, abandoned by their parents for whatever reason. And they go into foster care or may not, or a family member may take them in so they don't go into foster care, but that's still an abandonment issue. That's still a rejection. And that's a deep hurt. You know what I'm saying? That's a very deep hurt. Or, maybe as a child, something happened to you. and you told your parent, you told your guardian, and they didn't believe you. They rejected what you said as truth, when really it was the truth. And now that creates a pain point for you, because now you don't believe that that adults will trust what you say. That everything you say now is going to be rejected. Everybody's rejecting what I say. Nobody will ever believe me. So there's a lot of the source of rejection really does determine how deep the pain goes. But again, and sometimes the deeper the pain, the more work it is for you to stay free of that pain. It's easy to say, it may be easier to get over not getting a job offer. That's not the same as I like this boy, I like this girl, and they said no. Which is not the same as my spouse is divorcing me. Which is not the same as your parents saying, I don't want you, I don't love you. There's different levels to the pain of rejection. And so, but it doesn't mean that it's any less work involved, because let's face it, if you really need that job,
it would have been yours.
And you don't get that job, meaning I need this job because I'm homeless or I'm facing homelessness. Like it's a serious situation. Like you're desperate and you still don't get this job. And okay, I got 2 more lined up though. I'm waiting to hear from 2 more. But you don't get those other 2. So your backup to your backup to your backup, none of it worked out. So now what? So now it's okay. Now you have anxiety, you have all these other toxic emotions, and you feel like you're broken. You get to the point to where it's like, I can't take another no. Like I promise I can't take another no. When the truth is you probably can take another no, and you probably will take a couple more no's. It's just a matter of, again, how you handle and deal with that particular, situation as it comes to rejection and managing that. So, Shanae, what does rejection look like, to you? What experiences have you had with rejection and learning how to overcome it? You're back.
Okay, I'm back. Yeah, it just keeps going in and out. I'm like, okay, I keep switching sides and trying to get a good. I don't know what's going on today. Usually we don't have these issues, but today we just Okay.
Did you hear the question, or was it froze?
No, ma'am, I didn't hear it.
Okay. So what I asked you was, what have been your experiences with rejection and learning how to overcome it? So basically, tell us what rejection looks like to you, and any experiences you've had with rejection and learning how to overcome rejection from those experiences.
Wow. I had a lot of rejection. One of my biggest ones is relationships, boys. Men now. I'm older, men. For a long time, I dealt with low self-esteem. So I felt like I was being rejected everywhere that I went. The way people looked at me, I mean, it could have been anybody. And if you looked at me a certain way, I felt like you was rejecting me. I felt like you was talking about me. I just felt horrible. So it was hard for a long time. And it had a lot to do with my hair. I know I've talked about it before. I mean, now I'm definitely comfortable with my hair now. But before, it was a time where I was a weave queen. I had to have the latest stuff because I didn't want people to talk about me. I didn't want, because kids are cruel. I don't know if anybody, children are cruel. And you would think that they're your friends. You think that they wouldn't be, they'll have a filter. No. And so for me, that's what it looked like to me, not being accepted by my peers. Not being accepted in social settings. I didn't go to many places because I didn't know if I would fit in. I didn't know if I would look to par. And so over the years, when I got to college, that's when I really started to find myself, built that confidence, not care if I got rejected, because at the end of the day, I'm here to get my education. So if you reject me, okay, that's fine. I'm getting my education, but at the same time, I had to learn that I am beautiful. I had to keep things to myself, so that way I don't continue to go down. I will always want to go up. So yeah, that's for me. That's what it looked like, dealing with the opposite sex or just social setting.
Right. I think also, you made some very powerful points. Let's talk about relationships real quick, especially intimate male-female relationships. People have a preference.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we tend to do with rejection is we take on other people's stuff as our own. Like it's something wrong with us. No, people have a preference. Some folks like dark skin. Some folks like light skin. Some people like in between. Some people have a long list of requirements. You know, you gotta have long hair, or it's got to be short hair. It's got to be colored, or it's got to be this. It's got to be that. You got to be thighs, or I don't want you thick in the thighs. I want you slim in the waist, and I want to all of these different kind of things. Men have their type, just like women have their type. Everybody wanting to be 6 foot, and he got to be cut like this, and all everybody has a type. You know, some people, listen, your type is your type. There's nothing wrong with that. But understand that just like you have a preference, they have a preference. It goes back to respecting the no. Respect the person's boundaries. Respect their preferences. Right. Because just like you want people to respect yours, you have to. We have to return the same thing. See, rejection goes both ways. Yeah. And the thing is, once you know what a person's preference is, you move on. Yeah. So that you don't keep going into those same situations where you reject. Don't keep looking for the same kind of person that you think, you know what I'm saying? Right. You gotta dig deeper. So if the surface looks good, but if what's on the deeper part is not there. Right. So don't get mad if you want kids and the person that you're interested in don't want kids, they don't reject that notion of having kids every single time. Why are you mad? Don't get upset about that. They're rejecting that notion because that's not something that they want. Right. So move on. Right. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, sometimes we create situations where we get rejected or certain things about us get rejected because we see what we want to see. We want what we want without accepting the total. And that also becomes, again, we take that on ourselves without paying attention to that. You know what I'm saying? And, so a lot of times we do, so we don't see that as rejection. We don't see that as us creating situations where we're rejected. But in truth, stop going after folks. If you know you want kids, don't date nobody that want kids, especially if you're online dating and their profile says don't want kids. Right. Keep it moving. I don't care if they got everything else you want. If that's a deal breaker for you, leave it alone. Same thing is, now if they have a question mark, if that means it's open for discussion, that's different. But if they black all out saying no, then no. No. If a deal breaker for you in dating is smoking and drinking, you don't want nobody that smoke, you don't want nobody to drink. Guess what? Don't date somebody who drinks and smokes. And then you want to nag them about it. They're going to reject your nagging every single time. Move on. Yep. Because you chose to overlook that because, they got everybody. I actually had a situation where I could have taken it that way. I could have still tried to pursue the person, but it worked out in my favor. It was this guy that I really, really liked. I had a big crush on him. Almost everybody knew I had a crush on him. And he rejected me. He was just like, no. That hurt because I was just like, we cool, we friends, we just, what's wrong? Like, my mom knows your mom, like, we can get married. Like, I was just, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand. But I saw that the type of other females he would go after. And I thought it was me. I was like, well, maybe I'm not skinny enough, or maybe I'm not hood enough, or maybe I'm not, whatever. Like, and it hurt me. But later on, he told me, he said, I could not date you because I'm not ready for you. I said, I don't know if you're trying to spit game. I don't know if you're trying to, I don't know what you're trying to do, but that sounds really good. Like, I can accept that answer.
And I could have taken that. I mean, even before he said that, or even after he said that, I could have still tried to pursue him because I knew what he said, or I didn't know, but because I wanted him, I could have, just been that person where then he wouldn't have told me. But after he said that, I was like, huh, okay. So that means I can't go for guys like you because they might not understand me. Because if you're not ready for me, then would another guy be ready for me? Because you're attractive. Like I'm attracted to what you have and
Right.
or what you do, your swag. So, and that's the type of men that at that time I would go for. So I'm like, if you're this way, you told me this time, then And he used to do some stuff to women. I'm glad it wasn't me. So it worked out for me.
Right.
But yeah, I could have took it to that situation. But sometimes rejection can work out in your favor. I think sometimes you just have to ask the right questions so
Hmm.
that way you get the facts, you get why they said no. Because it could work out, or it could be a real reason. You can be like, oh, okay, well, I get it.
Right.
But because we hear no, we automatically think it's negative. We automatically think it's mad. We get in our feelings, and then we try to get back at that person.
Right.
So when they ask something, oh, I'm gonna say no. I don't care what it is.
Right.
I could be right beside the remote right here, but nope, you gonna get up. You gonna come get this remote. Why? Because you rejected me before. So
Yeah.
I feel like I have to get back at you. And that's not healthy either.
Right.
Don't do tit for tat because then y'all just gonna be rejecting each other all the time.
Right.
So yeah.
I think people, we live in the land of petty now. Everything is petty,
Yeah.
petty, petty, and the more petty you can be, um, the quote better. But at the end of the day, sometimes I think the petty is just you or the person projecting uh,
Hmm.
a rejection.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. Absolutely.
projecting um, some type of negative feeling or
Hmm.
something that has happened to them.
Hmm.
It's a projection, and some of it is just a lot of, especially the meme videos. They're basically kind of doing parodies on how people act when they get rejected
Yeah.
a lot of times. And here are some signs that a person has been rejected. I think it's really important that we know how to spot when people have been rejected. They avoid work and social activities. Anything along that lines. They don't want to go to school. They don't want to go to
Yeah.
work. They don't want to go out. They don't want to do this. They don't
Yeah.
want to go that. They'll say yeah, but then at the last minute they gonna cancel or whatever the case may be. And they do it because they fear rejection. They do it because they fear rejection. They have low self-esteem. This is a sure sign for somebody. If you got a friend that at one point had very high self-esteem and all of a sudden they got a low self-esteem, where'd that come from? Some type of rejection or a
Hmm.
series of rejection that you probably haven't been
Right.
telling you about because you think y'all real cool. But sometimes, let me put a pin in it. Sometimes you might be a friend of somebody else, but that don't mean they consider you a friend.
Right. Right.
So they may
Right.
not be telling you everything.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last thing is self-isolation, which goes back to avoiding work and social activities. But self-isolation, they doing stuff on their own.
Hmm.
They just going to the movies on their. Girl, why you ain't telling me I would have gone to the movies with you? No, it's all good, girl. No, 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 no.
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, I just went to happy hour. Girl, you should tell me I would have mentioned. No, it was all good.
Yep. Yep. What's wrong with you? What's going on? That's my question, man. What's wrong? Because who goes to happy hour by themselves? What's wrong? What's wrong? Yeah, yeah, it's
Especially when
true.
you're used to doing stuff together.
Right, right, right.
Not all the time, but this person kind of every now and then they do, but now it's frequently. Or
Yeah.
oh, I just went to coffee. I just picked up a coffee or whatever. Oh, were you out? Out with a client or whatever? No, I just decided get out of the
Mhm.
office and go for coffee. Why you didn't call me?
Right.
Or they're canceling
Mhm.
their regular stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're avoiding.
Yeah.
It's that's what. Yeah.
That's true.
Which isn't healthy, but that it happens. That kind of
Yeah.
stuff happens. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back because we're gonna keep talking about these signs of rejection. And we're gonna round out this show with how you can overcome rejection, but we're gonna dig into a little bit deep. Stay tuned. Stick with us. We'll be back after this short commercial break. And we're back. We're talking about rejection and overcoming rejection. Even through our technology issues, we're still digging into the topic because it's really important. And as y'all know, if you watch some of our other videos, we haven't been having this problem. So obviously, this must be a very important topic.
Right.
But we're used to it and we're plugging right through it.
Mm-hmm.
We've shared, what rejection is. We've talked about, the source of rejection, what it looks like, our experience and what we've learned from it, and just kind of share with you some brief signs of what rejection looks like. And I want to get back into that because a lot of times, we may not know how to spot rejection. But if you have a friend that's constantly canceling,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be, they may have told you, girl, I'm over that situation, girl, I'm good,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be, but their actions are saying differently. They are not over the rejection.
Right.
They are not free of that rejection.
Right.
Or it might be that one, but they aren't free of rejection overall because it's a root. Something has taken root in them because it may have been a series of different types of rejection that has happened over their life, and now it just finally hit them, so to speak. Because sometimes it takes a while for stuff to hit people. You know what I mean? Like, you might be, listen, and then you might be somebody who's been real good at overcoming rejection. Like, I can move on to the next, no problem. But there's sometimes at some point there might be something that happens to you that you really wanted or whatever, or rejection you didn't expect, like we talked about earlier in the show, that kind of, it hits you. And then you start thinking about all the other situations that you were quick to move on from because it was just like, meh. But all it takes is one. I promise you. Right. I promise you. All it takes is one. For like that light bulb to click on, or for something to click in your mind that makes you start thinking, okay, there's a pattern here, and I'm the common denominator. No. Yeah. You may not be the common denominator. Right. Necessarily. Right. But what you tend to look for might be the common denominator. So it's not necessarily you so much as it is a shift in your mind, or so much as a shift in, the things that you want, you might need to come up a little bit higher from that. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with you, but where you're trying to present and what you're trying to offer, like Shena said, they ain't ready for it. So you got to come on up a little bit higher. We lost Shena, she'll be back. So it may be that, just like Shena's situation where the guy said, I wasn't ready for you, it might be that the things that you're after ain't ready for you, and you got to come on up a little higher. So don't go into isolation. Don't let that lower your self-esteem, but use that to boost yourself. Yeah. Take time to look. And when I go over, these steps to overcome rejection, I'm going to go into some of this stuff on how you can overcome rejection and use it to your advantage, because it's necessary. But I think part of why we don't know how to handle rejection well, and again, y'all know I'm always talking about the media in society. They influence us and how we deal with rejection. We don't see good examples of how to overcome rejection or how to deal with rejection, whether it be in the news, on TV shows, on social media, on YouTube, whatever it is. We don't see it. Most of the time, rejection is very over dramatized, and it's always negative. You don't really see a whole lot of people showing you how to overcome it, or how they've overcome it, or what they've done to be better about it. Look at many of the reality TV shows and some of the videos on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because this stuff sells. But all of it over the top. The more over the top, the better. You know, you got folks crying, snot running, arms flailing all over the page, feet stomping. You know what I'm saying? It's, again, it's ratings, likes, and views.
Yep.
But that doesn't, we don't realize that subliminally, we're teaching people, we're projecting a vision of what not to do, but a lot of people don't learn well from what not to do.
Right.
And
they
how
don't.
do we, it's kind of like, well, how do we change that narrative? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's hard, especially when you have the media, when you have television shows, the internet portraying that type of stuff like it's okay. And so when then they put in the same situation, then they're going to mimic what they see or you feel. And right now, everybody, in my opinion, everybody's in their feelings about something. I mean, that's just me. I mean, it's something always going wrong. Right. And so when you mix that with the coverage of what's going on, and then in a certain situation, you always want to put a heading on the rejection. Right. And it's like, no, it's not even like that. Right. And then it's like when you try to explain yourself, right, then that person becomes defensive, and you can't even say anything. It's like, why? Why? But just because it's been a label, it's like everything is under that label, and it's like that's not the case. Right. So to answer your question, I think I honestly don't know how. Because you're going to be always in competition with something, with someone, with a scheme, or it's always in competition. So being in competition with media, that's pretty hard, because unless you have a strong structure at home, right, at work, you have a routine. You're teaching your children, what you want to teach them, how you want them to overcome rejection, or how you want them to deal with things. But if you don't, I wish I can answer that, because it's like it's necessary, yeah, but it's hard. I mean, it's really hard because people are different.
Right. So. And it is very hard to change that narrative, especially when what's in your face is boom, and it's worldwide. And again, I love your point that it starts in the home. It starts with you. And as an individual, it's very hard to change that narrative unless you want that narrative to change in your own life. We have to stop looking to all of these other avenues and all these other things and ways to tell what's right or how to do something, or it's kind of like, I know, and sometimes people do know better. They just don't do better because it's not the norm.
Yeah.
But norm ain't always right. So, and what's norm for one person may not be norm for you. So, sometimes we get conditioned and we think that this is how it's supposed to be, or whatever the case may be, but maybe in your home is different, or in your life is different. The way you were raised is different. But, when it comes to rejection and overcoming rejection, don't look to everything around you, because everything around you is not right. Here's the other things. The way one person deals with overcoming rejection may not work for you. Why? Because you're a unique individual and you are not that person. So how you overcome rejection and how you deal with your emotions is different than the next person. We're not out here trying to make clones of each other. That's not the whole purpose of life. If everybody was the same, this would be a dull, boring world. I think I've said this before. It would be very dull and boring, because that's not what we were intended. We weren't created to be like the next person. We're created to be ourselves, and we all have something that we can bring to the table. Now, if we have a system that works that works for us, we could probably teach that to somebody else, and then they can tweak it to work for them. Right. So, here's some things that we can do. We've already shared a few things in this, in the show, of how we can overcome rejection. The first that Shena came up with was plan for no, like you do yes. You expect yes, because you done came up with a plan. Expect no, and have a plan for that no. You know, have as many backup plans as necessary. That doesn't mean that you don't believe that it's going to work out. It's just, okay, it's just healthy.
Right.
It's a healthy
Right.
way to deal with rejection. Okay,
Right.
find a way to unwind from the rejection.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
that might mean if you're a faith, you whatever faith system you have. I don't care, whatever belief system you have. A lot of people turn to their faith. Okay, but
Mhm.
you want to find a way to unwind. That may be pray. You may decide to meditate. Take a hot
Mhm.
bath. Get a massage. Have a spa day. But find a way to unwind. Let that
Right.
stuff out. Let it go.
Yeah.
Clear your mind from it. And that,
Mhm.
again, that may go back to meditating, praying, taking a hot bath, having a spa day. As you get a massage, you kind of let that stuff out. Some people like acupuncture, whatever it
Mhm.
is, but you want to clear your mind, and give yourself time to get over those bad feelings.
Yeah.
You've heard me say this before. Be kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Please.
Right.
Don't beat yourself up. There is nothing wrong with you. A lot of times we get rejected and we'll say, oh, I'm unlovable or I'm
Mhm.
unhireable. Don't nobody want me. Nobody likes me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't let your first line of defense be negative. Negative speech towards yourself. Don't speak negatively about yours. I can't say that enough. Do not let negative words come out of your mouth about yourself. That is a
Yes.
trap, and that's a
Yep.
surefire way of staying in a negative space about rejection and bringing your
Yeah.
self-esteem down. The more you speak negative, the more you will think negative, and the lower your esteem goes. No, instead, speak positive about yourself.
Yes.
Say good things about yourself. Whatever negative comes to your mind, immediately speak the opposite. Immediately. No, I'm completely lovable. I am completely hireable. People want me. I am
Yeah.
attractive. I am attractive to the right person and the right people. If it's in business, you know what? The right clients are coming my way. I'm going to keep digging until I find the right people. But don't speak the negative stuff. Um, just kind of try to focus on the positive as much as you can. As much as you can. Ask yourself what good came out of it or could come out of it. Just like in Shena's situation, it ended up
Mhm.
working out in her favor. At the time she didn't understand it, but when dude came back, he explained it. It was just like, oh, and she took it. It's not always you. It ain't about you. Remember, people have their preference. Same thing in business. Folks have a preference. They're looking for a certain client. They're looking for a certain something just like you are. Keep digging though. Um, One person's opinion of you does not define you. I don't care if 90 people reject you. Those 90 people are individuals. Don't let their opinions of you define you, because they may not even have an opinion of you, or their opinion of you may still be positive and good. Again, back to Shanae's situation. That dude's opinion of her was good.
Mhm.
So the rejection isn't always that it's something wrong with you.
Right.
You just don't fit with what they're doing. He knew he was doing some messed up stuff to some women, and he
Mhm.
respected her enough to not do that to her.
Yeah.
So you give yourself time as you unwind and let that stuff go and start to and decompress your mind and think about what good came out of this or what good could come out of it. If you give something to enough time, it will reveal itself to you.
Yes.
You're going to find out.
Yes.
Ooh, you dodged a bullet, baby. Ooh,
Huh.
that one for you, sugar. Ooh, this, that, then you start finding out all kinds of stuff come out that closet. All
Right.
kinds of stuff. Look at
Yes.
us. Usher paid a woman $1 million to keep her mouth shut. He knew he had herpes.
Yep.
And now another woman came out with a lawsuit against him.
Yep.
How many more finna come out the closet? You don't know what you dodge. Don't let
Right.
an outside appearance, don't let a facade, don't let a lifestyle, don't let certain things
Right.
attract you to something, because you don't know what's under you looking at the fruit,
Yep.
honey. But the important thing is what that root system look like.
Right.
Okay, so in a relationship, you looking for all of this on the outside. He could be 6 foot, fine as wine, baby. But if on the inside jacked up, you don't want that.
Yep.
You don't want that. Can he have a conversation? Oh, but he look good. But can he have a conversation?
Right. That's the question. Mhm.
Can you take him in public too? Can you take him to a work event and not
That's it.
embarrass you?
That's it right there. That is it.
Can you take him around your people and your
Right.
what is
Right.
his people like? Can
Right.
you go around his people and his
Right.
people? Because those habits,
They came from somewhere.
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but really. Now, if
Yeah.
you're okay with that, okay, go ahead on. But
Yeah.
we get caught up on the outside. But what's on the
Mhm.
deep inside? How he treat his
Mhm.
mama? Us
Mhm.
fired his mama.
Yep.
But you have to think about, but she kept him on track. Long as she was his manager, she kept him on track. He wanted, as soon as he fired his mama, life went all kind of crazy.
Mhm.
Didn't honor your mom. Oh, okay. And it's okay if you want to move on in business and get a new manager, but what was your relationship with your mama after that? Like how's it be? But you have to think about stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like what's their pattern of behavior? If this is a relationship, what's their what?
Mhm.
Why all your relationships don't work? If it's always the other person, it ain't always the other person.
Right.
Because now at this point, they are the common denominator. What are you looking for that you did not find in these other women?
Yeah.
Because I might have the same thing and I ain't got time to waste my time with you. It's okay. Again, he could be 6'5", fine as wine. But if there's no substance there, if you are a Christian and he don't know Jesus and Jesus don't know him, move on. Move on. If he say he know Jesus, but Jesus don't know him, move on. Because people who say they know Jesus, they know of him, but they don't have a relationship, and there is a difference. Is he in his word?
Mhm.
Is he praying? Is he entertaining other faiths? Trying to mix other religions with Jesus?
Right.
Is he talking about the same Jesus you talking about?
Right.
Because everybody hollering out Jesus ain't talking about the same Jesus. Do y'all believe the same thing?
True.
Do he believe in the Holy Ghost with the evidence of speaking in tongues? Do he believe that? Do he believe in apostles? Do he believe in the fivefold? Do he believe everything from Genesis to Revelation? Because some folk only deal with the New Testament. They won't deal with the Old Testament. And some will only deal with the Old Testament, will tell you to leave the New Testament alone. It ain't. Huh. Where is he in his relationship? Do he have one? This is for believers now. Because if you're a believer and he got a different faith system, that ain't gonna work. Yep. Again, he could be 6'5", fine as wine.
Mhm.
He could be all statuesque and all of that and look good and whoo, y'all gonna make some pretty babies. But what's on the inside?
Yep.
Just saying. Because you're opening up yourself to rejection at one point or another. Don't ignore the warning signs, okay? Use the rejection to your advantage. Shanae's already said this. There are ways that you can use it to your advantage. What did you learn from it? And use that information to improve.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how, get somebody to help you. Role play.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. I said something earlier. A lot of times, you might be a friend to other people, but that doesn't mean those other people are friends to you. meaning you don't
Mhm.
consider those people friends in your life, but they consider you a friend because you're there and you're supportive. Those are people you talk to. You know what I'm saying? If that's
Right.
happening more often than not, you need to ask yourself why.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
everybody needs a sounding board. Everybody needs friends. Everybody needs somebody that can tell them the truth.
Mhm.
Everybody they can talk to. Now, it may not be one person that you can tell everything to, but you
Yeah.
may have a friend that you can tell this to, and a friend that you can tell that to. That's okay. You can tell Jesus everything, though.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can tell Jesus everything. But it's okay. Everybody don't have a relationship with their siblings and their family where they can do, and that's fine. But if you are a friend to a lot of people, you don't have a lot of friends. There's something wrong.
Mhm.
There's something wrong there, and you need to find out why you are isolating yourself. You cannot take rejection from relationships, from friends or whatever, and make that everybody's problem, because everybody didn't do it to you. Those
Right.
specific people did. What did you learn from that? And what was it about those people that attracted to you too, that made you think you could trust them? Find
Mhm.
that, learn
Mhm.
from it, and avoid that when you see it in other people. But if you've examined these other people and they've been in your life for a while and you can't tell them stuff, something is wrong. That means you need to change your circle. And I have that here. But use rejection to improve.
Mhm.
How you assess the situation, but use that. Don't dwell on the rejection. Listen, don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
Don't dwell
Yeah.
on it. And if you think it ain't gonna come back to your mind, that's wrong. It's gonna come back.
Right.
Just don't rehearse it. Stop
Yeah.
rehearsing the rejection. Stop rehearsing it. It's gonna play like a highlight reel anyway. At some point, even when you let it go and you move on,
Mhm.
it creeps up. That's part of life. It's just a mental mind game. Joyce Meyer got a
Mhm.
book talking about the battlefield of the mind. That stuff comes back constantly because it's just you got time to think. But
Mhm.
don't rehearse it. Shut those thoughts down when they come. If you know
Mhm.
you've already examined it, figured out what you can learn from it, and move on, shut those thoughts down. Now, if you haven't, it's an opportunity for you to examine it, figure out what you can learn from it, and then you can keep shutting it down. But shut it down. Meditate on what's good, what you learn from it. But don't beat yourself up, because when those thoughts come, they come to beat you so that you can beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up. Again, don't speak the negative stuff about that situation no, it ain't you. It's not you. Um, know when to quit.
Mhm.
I think Shanae said something earlier, about knowing when to quit and walk away from stuff. Stop
Mhm.
pushing for something the universe doesn't want you to have.
Yeah.
Or stop pushing people to want you or what you have. Change your circle. Come on up a little
Mhm.
higher. Shift and keep
Mhm.
shifting until you find the right thing. Again, I think we said it earlier. We talked about we want people to want what we want, and we want this. No, respect that everybody got their preference.
Yeah.
Everybody looking for something. You just got to find that circle where you fit in. I
Yeah.
think somebody said, get in where you fit in. You just got to find it.
Mhm.
Just keep digging. But don't, don't, you don't want anybody forcing what they want on you.
Mhm.
So don't
Mhm.
force it on other people. Otherwise, you're
Sure.
creating situations for you to be rejected.
Sure.
Shanae, what are your thoughts? What are some things that you do to overcome rejection or have come? I had a long list here, but just for you, in your journey of overcoming rejection, what are some things that you have done, or recommendations that you would make to people on overcoming rejection?
For me, what the one thing that I did was I tried to look at the rejection and figure out the good out of it, or what was the good inside that rejection. Um, because it helped me. That way I knew why. I'm always a why person. I always got to know why somebody did something. Why did you think this way, or what could I have done better? Like, I'm always that person. I love self improvement. That's me. So that's what helped me. me. And then once I started getting the information, it was like, okay, so I do need to work on this, because sometimes they rejected me and it's like, oh, like for a job, you don't have experience. Well, you know what? You're right. I don't have experience. I'm trying to go for a job that you do need 2 or 3, some years of experience. So it's like, okay, but let me build upon that, so that way when I go back, then I won't be rejected. Or for school, if I didn't make the grades for class, because it was a time my freshman year where I needed a class and I couldn't get into the class because I registered late, one, and two, I didn't have the grades, so they wasn't going to override it. So, yes, that hurt, but I still took the class. But when I took the class, I was prepared for the class. And so I just ask questions. That's for me. I don't know if anyone else out there is a why person, or they just have to know. But be careful that when you do receive that answer, that you may not agree with that answer, but be okay with that answer, because everybody has their own point of view. Everybody has their own mind. So, you have to be careful not to get sucked back into that rejection. And I did that as well for a lot of things. It was just like, okay, but you can just train me. Well, yeah, I maybe can train you, but maybe my company doesn't have the money to train you. Well, you got all this money, train me. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to go back into that rejection. And just be confident, speak to yourself, love on yourself. You're the only person that can love you like you want to be loved. At the end of the day, you're the only person that can love you. So, be confident about, certain things. Also, just make sure you have that no in mind. It may not be a no, it might be a simple yes. But if you have that no, that lets you know that you are strong. You're respecting the other person's opinion and their feelings. And you're just willing to be honest with yourself and say, you may not be able to do that, and be okay with it. Right. So, yeah, that's what I've done. That's what I have for you guys to do. It's not easy, but and over time, when you're dealing with the same situations or similar situations, it's easier to handle them and be able to say, you know what, I've been here before. I didn't like how I felt the last time, but this time it's going to be different. This time I'm okay with it. Right. So, yeah.
Good stuff. I think, one of the things that's important in overcoming rejection is paying attention to what we're doing to contribute to the situation. Again, sometimes we don't respect other people's views. We don't respect their no. We don't respect their preference in life. And the other thing too, I love something that you just said that just brought to mind is stop trying to spend other people's money. Stop trying to control other people's life. Sometimes we think we know what's best. Same thing with a job, like Shena just said with the scenario with the job. You don't know that company's finances. You don't know what the culture of that company. You can read online, but to be on the inside of what the company culture is like, you don't know what it's like. So when you say stuff like that, sometimes you're overly aggressive. That can be a turnoff to that employer. Because that can, you can create something that could contradict the culture that they're trying to create or that they're trying to maintain within their company. So you have to be careful with how you say stuff. You can blame me. Y'all got a lot of money. How do you know that? Even if you've done the right, that is not something you want to come out your mouth, because again, now it presents you in a certain way. And sometimes we tend to overstep our boundaries in people's life. Earlier, friends would say, oh, well, you ain't that tired, or, you ain't this and you ain't that.
How you gonna tell me? Right. Like, it's my body. No, that's what you're gonna do.
Right. And so a lot of times, so a lot of times we create situations for us to be rejected. Because again, if you got to watch your mouth.
I thought about that.
Watch what you say and how you say it, because you could be creating situations where somebody would have said yes, but because of how you said what you said or what you said, it ended up being a no.
Yep.
Sometimes we just got to put a muzzle on this right here. Because this right here will quickly turn a yes into a no.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we've got to be, that's something that we have to be mindful of. So, and again, again, we have all of these things projecting vision to us of this is what you got to do to get results. No, you don't have to be
Yeah.
nasty to get results. No,
Right.
just be digging. You don't have to force yourself on people. I'm sorry, when
Right.
you force yourself on people, that's rape. Look up the
Right.
definition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop forcing yourself on people, because we will rape a person's emotions, their personal space. We will do all of that for what we want.
Mhm.
But what about the other person?
Right. Right.
What about, boundaries? Rejection is all about somebody overstepping a boundary in
Mhm.
some way that caused someone else to respond out of that lack of boundary. In
Yeah.
the instance of, and sometimes the person who's rejected is a byproduct of that boundary,
Mm.
meaning a child will be rejected by a parent or by their
Yeah.
parents because of a decision their parents made that overstepped some type of boundary.
Mm. That's good.
I know that just came to me. That's good stuff. Stop talking about this stuff. But that's true. So
Yeah.
you have to realize that a lot of times the decisions that are made don't just affect you. They have trickle down effects. So a lot of times that no may not be about you. It may be about what's on the other side of
Yeah.
what you're asking.
Yeah.
So, and there's all kinds of inside information that you don't have. So
Yeah.
you're basing your decision or your estimation or your assumption off of their decision off of information that you don't have, because you don't have
Right.
inside information into that person's life. That person may be working on saying no. I have been that person where I said yes all the time. My sister had to tell me, you need to learn to say no. I
Mhm.
love helping people. I love taking care of
Mhm.
people. I love doing for other people, but that's just at my heart. Like
Right.
but I had to
Right.
learn to say no. And it was
Yeah.
very difficult for me because it made me feel good to help other
Yeah.
people. And it was very hard not to serve and take care of people. If I go to dinner, you invite me to dinner in your house, I'm going to try to wash dishes after the end.
Mhm.
I'm not going to, in my mind, I'm not going to leave you as the host to wash dishes. Now, folks get mad
Right.
at me. Now, if
Yeah.
you really I'm not trying to upset or offend you, but that's just that's my training. That's my home training. I was brought up, when you go to
Right.
somebody's house, you don't leave them to clean up by themselves.
Mhm.
You help.
Mhm.
That's how I was raised.
Mhm.
And that's always stuck with me. And I like taking care of people. I like helping people.
Mhm.
But again, some people will use it and take it and run with it
They sure
and take
will.
advantage of it and abuse it. So a lot of times saying no is self-preservation, and is to not to contribute to the delinquency in other people's lives. Because some people have heard yes and they force yes on people so much that they don't know how to deal with no. And they spoil. And they don't care what happens to other people or how their spoiled behavior impacts other people, because it's all about me and how I feel and what's going to work for me. And that, no. We don't live in the land of me, my, I. It's we. Everything happens. It has triggered on
Mhm.
that affects somebody else. But, some
Right.
people need to experience rejection so they can come
Mhm.
on down, because they think sometimes a little too much of themselves.
Mhm.
So just a
That's
little
true.
something that about overcoming rejection. We covered a lot in today's show. It may be something that we'll revisit again. We got a lot of shows we might revisit, but I'm telling you guys, I think this is a topic. This season's topics are some things that we can never talk enough about, because it's got a lot of people hurting, and we're seeing now. What we're seeing transpire in our lives all around us in society is hurt people hurting other people, because people don't know how to deal with, their feelings. They don't know.
Mhm.
So, parting words from Shanae.
I'm sorry, I missed some of your what you were saying because it froze again.
I know. It's okay. You're going to have to watch the video too, baby.
Yeah. Right.
But share with us some parting words that you have before we close out the show today on rejection.
Okay. Yes. Rejection is not easy. It's not. It's still hard for me, even though, I have certain situations that I've overcame those situations, but I still get rejected every single day. But you just have to learn from it. Ask questions. Be respectful when you ask questions.
Right.
It's okay to ask. I mean, because you want to know. I mean, if it's something that can change yourself, then why not, hear it? But
Right.
also, do not feed into the negative thought of overcoming objection, because sometimes it's not bad. But
Right.
even if it is bad, you sometimes just have to say, okay, yes, I didn't like what you said, but I have to deal with it. You have to respect the other person's opinion. You
Right.
have to respect, because you will want the same thing.
That's right.
Um, love on yourself always. Always take time to love on yourself. Always take time to meditate and just
Mhm.
evaluate the situation, evaluate what's going on, and just continue to live. Do not dwell in that rejection, because it can cause depression, stress, anxiety, panic attacks, a
Mhm.
host of other things, that darkness that you don't want to go
That's
into.
it.
And so if it's easy for you to have panic attacks, sometimes you just have to breathe.
Mhm.
Sometimes you have to take a step back and say, you know what, I'll ask this question later. It's okay if you got to answer later, but if it helps you, to deal with the situation, do what's best for you. So yeah, that's my parting words.
That's good stuff. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of Ladies, where we were talking about overcoming rejection.
Hmm.
Um, Man, good stuff. So much good stuff.
Good.
I hope you had pad and pen. Keep watching the show. Take those notes on some of the tips that we gave you on how to overcome rejection, and practice it. Practice
Hmm.
these things, and get with your friends and practice it.
Yeah,
They may think that you're crazy in the beginning, but guess what? At
it's gonna
some
help you
point,
too.
somebody gonna come back to you and say, you know what, this was very helpful to me. Like,
Yeah.
I think if we, practicing this helps, practice it, rehearse it. I think it's best if you do it, but learning how to overcome rejection in a safe space is
Hmm.
way better than letting the world teach you how to do it and you just kind of flail
Right.
around until you figure it out.
Right.
Okay, so thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Ladies in season 2. Man, I'm so excited. We got a couple
Yes.
more topics that we're going to be dealing with. We have one in particular where we're talking about workplace relationships and how to deal
Yeah.
with poor leadership on your job, so you don't
Yeah.
lose your job.
Right. Right.
Just stay tuned. Keep up with this season. We're very excited to be bringing all this good stuff to you. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you so much. And as always, remember to spread lots of love and light.